Hello, welcome to another video on the Scouring Early Access. Today's match is going to be a 4 versus 4 match with me, the Bertha Gamer, and my allies, Scrat, Dingy Code, and ADKI. And the enemy team is going to be What, Barbardo, Bubbas, and Anubercon. And of course, it's going to be on a Seton map, or now as it's called, Water Seton. It's a water version with actual islands here, some gold veins. So you can actually make some kind of navy, some kind of ships to try and take these islands over, and get some extra resources. It's pretty nice. And even in the middle of the map here, there are these two sections of shallow water, one here and one over here. So your ships from the bottom part of the map can actually go across here and go to the top as well. But of course, you can even hold this choke point with a lot of ships to try and slow down the, land army of the enemy. Anyways, over here, I spawned as a black human player. And over here, I guess I did a single worker barracks into a free worker sawmill. And I guess getting some extra gold of the rest of my workers. But here my plan was just to get a good handful of swordsmen, so I can start killing some neutrals. And then going into a, archer focused build. Next to me, Mr. Orange is Dingy Code, playing as humans. Looks like he did a similar build to me. Roughly similar amount of woodworkers. Starts making a few swordsmen. But I guess he had this farm out of sooner than me. Anyways, over here, Mr. White, playing as orcs, is ADKI. Looks like he did a double town hall build, so you can get double worker production, which is somewhat popular on this big map, because it's very unlikely that the enemy is going to go across the map and actually do some damage to you. So it's a little greedy, but can somewhat pay off eventually. And over here, this player also made a barracks in the front, which is a little, greedy, because he did a second town hall with a forward barracks, which is a little, risky. Over here, Mr. Red, playing as humans, is Scrat. Looks like he went for a archer build order. But these ones, of course, are going to be giving him some trouble. Over here, he made a somewhat fast transport. But I think he's going to forget about its existence for quite some time. Anyways, in the meantime, Mr. Blue is White, playing as orcs. Looks like he's making 2 transport ships. So he is probably thinking of invading this big island on the south part of the map. Of course, he did a normal barracks into sawmill, but with actual transports. Next to him, Mr. Cyan Rabarbardo made a barracks sawmill, but he has very few military units, roughly 3 swordsmen, so he is relatively a new player. But it does look like he's actually going to be making a transport to try and invade the top part of the map. Anyways, we're here, Mr. Yellow, Anubercon, playing as orcs. Did a barracks sawmill, of course. Was the usual build. But here, he tried to take the south post. Maybe he got scared that I had, one more swordsman than him. So he allowed me to actually take this outpost. Well, you can see he has a handful of warriors, and he's going to archer production. And next to him, Mr. Bubba's playing his purple human. Looks like he also did a similar build. Barracks sawmill. A handful of swordsmen. Into heavy archer production. I mean, of course, it is turned on for goblin waves. And so, some people are going to be in trouble, like Mr. White here. Because most of his army is on this big island in the south. But the rest of us here, not going to have much of an issue. Because we have most of our armies in the mainland, or whatever you call it. Or side of a big island. But here we can see Mr. Bobas is actually going to be pretty close. Well, in taking out this barracks. But I guess probably forgot that he could have just attack moved this barracks and actually destroyed it. So that was a little tiny mistake. But I guess he didn't waste attention with Mr. White and the red player. So I guess that was quite useful. Over here you can see got a second barracks. No stables, so I am somewhat thinking of getting fast tier 3. Meantime, Mr. Cyan is having a little bit of trouble here. Some goblins. But he does eventually get to clean up this goblin invasion. And of course it is just wave 1 or night 1, so it's relatively easy to take care of. But here you can see Mr. Bubba's scheming a tier 2 second barracks, so a little slower with attacking compared to me. I'm already doing a tier 3, but I guess he does have a slightly bigger army. Now here I try to, I guess, invade this little island. Get some more units. But here you can actually see what actually made a base here. It's quite a big army here. So it's gonna have quite a more leveled up army compared to me. So here I try to get another base. In the meantime, Cyan is making an expansion on this top island. So he's going to be getting some extra resources. And over here you can see Babas decides to attack alone. So it was strange. Could have actually asked for some help. But I guess he wanted to just probably harass. Not really go too deep into this choke point. But he does somehow get to destroy extra barracks. And then kill a few RE units here as well. But of course, Yellow was a little late here. So if they were here together, he could have done even more damage. In the meantime here, I tried to invade this island on the bottom. But I guess my units were just a little less leveled. And I guess slightly outnumbered, so I lost everything here. But I guess I'm still building a base here. In the meantime, Scrat actually made it all the way to this island. He's probably thinking of getting a base here himself. Up here, I already have a tier 3. Got a single apprentice in case purple wants to attack here again. So I can put down maybe a slow or 2 on this army. So I have mostly just archer army. My white ally is going to heavy muncher build. Red has quite a good amount of archers. Also has a tier 3. I guess my orange ally is going to heavy apprentice production. So he only has 1 barracks and has about 2 extra town halls. And in the meantime, I did lose this base here. So I guess my army was a little, out of position. So that's quite unfortunate. It's quite of an investment in this base. Anyways, over here, Mr. White is mining quite a lot here. There's quite a lot of infrastructure here, so taking over this island is going to be quite a task. And over here, still on tier 2 though. Mr. Cyan is getting a stable, so just thinking of tier 3. Yellow just started his tier 3 not too long ago. And Cyan already has tier 3. It's getting his church, so it's probably going to be getting about your 4 cavaliers. And over here we can actually see some ships from Cyan and purple, which of course can give you some naval supremacy, so can be quite effective to have a big navy. But we can see here, the enemies are kind of holding the middle. You have quite a big army here. But we decided to just defend on the bottom, or in the middle choke point. And over here, blue decides to check what's over here. Finds my archers. So he does get somewhat scared away. And over here on top, red gets found here. And so a good amount of his units are going to be dying. And even his big ship is going to be Yodel derping out here instead of fighting back, which is a little unfortunate. But over here, I saw that we were kind of holding the middle somewhat well, so instead of making a bigger land army, I decided to go into a heavy naval production. I'm just making a huge amount of destroyers, which is the best ship, I would say, because you have a little speed boost, so you can just maneuver your destroyers really well, attack when you need to, and you're kind of gonna be losing, then you can just speed boost away. So for now, the enemy does have a naval supremacy. He has a few more ships, but I'm starting to pump pretty much all my resources into ships. So I'm gonna have around 6 ships. I'm gonna be making a few more, and in the meantime, Orange is also getting some kind of navy of his own. You can see here, Cyan is even getting this big base here on the top of a map, a huge amount of gold, and quite a substantial amount of wood. In the meantime, you can see above us, it's a good amount of swordsmen, a lot of cavaliers, and a lot of archers, so quite a mixed army. Yellow has A lot of munchers, a lot of warriors, even a good handful of cannons. But of course, it's time to get some free gold by killing some goblins. So Sion doesn't really have much of a land army, but he's investing quite a lot into some kind of naval army. But over here you can see Orange finds his ships, so it's going to be the beginning of naval warfare. Now over here I'll find a few ships, so I decide to run them down. And of course, ships can shoot while moving, so can be quite effective at running down some ships. Even Bubba's is surprised. And over here, instead of just attacking by myself, I believe I did communicate with Orange Player to eventually unite our huge navy to attack one side of a map, the overwhelming naval force. So here they're going to be destroying this whole island, all these buildings. And over here I decided to go down here to try and hunt down the ships of the blue player. But here I started focusing his cannons, because they actually do more damage than ships. But I guess blue just kind of reinforcing with his cannons auto too well. And so eventually my ships do get auto injured from all this fighting. So I lose maybe 3 ships. It's round 4. But I do get to take out quite a lot of cannons. So here I decide to go back, repair my ships. In the meantime, Sion lost all these buildings here. And now Orange is going to be trying to hunt down the rest of this potential navy. But here we can actually see Sion's pumping a huge amount of resources in these huge battleships, which can be quite strong. There's a good amount of numbers of them. But from what I have, I guess, experienced from playing naval warfare, it's more efficient to have way more destroyers, because they have kind of half the health of a battleship, but they cost roughly the same amount as a battleship. So 2 destroyers, similar price to 1 battleship. It's a little difficult to actually make your battleships be effective, because you have to maneuver them to allow them to shoot from the side of their ship instead of the front, where the destroyers are really well, I guess, fighting. So here you can see repairing most of my ships, making a few more destroyers, and I'm pretty much thinking of uniting with my allies in the north after we find these ships here. So Red Player actually does use his ships a little well, allows them to shoot from their sides. It's going to be quite effective at destroying these ships. And so it's quite important to actually put your ship sideways, because if they're facing forward, then only one cannon can fire at a time. In the meantime, yellow and a purple player decide to attack us here. But I guess they didn't expect us to have much of a land army, because we did invest quite a lot into a big navy. But eventually, we do just have quite a bit more forces here, so kind of surround all of their units, and we eventually just destroy them here, even with naval support. I did a little flank here, my ships, but you can see ships are quite weak against most land armies, if they of course are focused down. But eventually we do somehow take out quite a good amount of units here. And so after trading really well, we just decide to defend. Now here my ships are still injured, so I'm probably going to be repairing them once again. And so you can see Orange has a huge navy here, but so does Cyan. There's a lot of battleships. And I guess Blue is starting to build its navy as well. I guess even the Blue player sees my huge fleet, which can be quite effective. It's way easier to use all the destroyers. And of course here, everyone is kind of running out of wood. There's not much left. Some in the middle, some on the bottom corner here. And they're pretty much very little woody in the enemy side of the map. Some here in the middle. But of course, getting some wood on these big islands can be quite helpful. Over here, Orange, find this huge fleet. And so he is going to be losing quite a lot of ships. So he eventually does decide to retreat with a speed boost. That way me or my navy, Orange's navy and Red's navy can go into one big army or fleet. And now we can just destroy this whole enemy fleet. So that's precisely what we're going to be doing here. I have about, I guess, roughly 11 ships or destroyers. On the bottom here, we can actually see Blue has quite a lot of ships. Roughly 7 destroyers. Getting a few more. So over here, we're actually uniting our huge naval army to try and destroy the Cyan player's fleet. So this is where we last saw him. So this is the direction our fleet is going to be moving. But over here, Blue decides to go on top, try and fight our navy. And even Purple is making a good amount of ships to try and unite the Blue player. But over here we can actually see begin destroying the Cyan player's navy for a huge amount of ships here. So he pretty much loses most of his ships. We lose maybe 1 or 2 small ships at most. So that was quite efficient. Now even the white player is going to be invading this island here. It's going to be destroying the rest of the units here, potentially. So here, orange tried to go under the island, tried to hunt down any cyan units. And I tried to follow the coast here to try and see if the enemy was building some kind of navy. But in the meantime, you can see there's someone preparing to attack in the middle. Blue is coming here with his huge navy of his own. And purple is preparing to join him pretty shortly. So here Gil begins bombarding us, trying to take care of our, I guess, defenses. Saw my workers here, I guess with orange as well. So we are so prepared to defend ourselves. In the meantime, there was a little ship trying to run away. But we do eventually hunt him down. So our huge navy is now going to be facing the huge armada of the enemy here. So blue and purple are going to be moving past these straits here. And here we meet the enemy's fleet. So we begin fighting. So here, somewhat of an even amount of ships with blue. But here with the help of purple, we are going to be a little outnumbered. And so eventually we're going to be losing this naval battle. And even red players here trying to fight back, but there are just way too many ships. So we're eventually going to be losing here. But in the meantime, yellow player begins attacking. And here, we don't really have much of a choice but to do a big land assault. Because we pretty much lost the naval supremacy. You can see the last of the red player ships are gone now. We don't have any islands. I guess orange has this one. But here we begin pushing across the land bridge. And here I guess yellow kind of forgot to retreat, so we can get to destroy his whole army here. And so now, Cyan invested into mostly naval warfare, so he doesn't have much of an army. So purple is left here to try and fight us here in the middle. And here you can see this naval supremacy is somewhat of a bait, I guess you could say. Because we just forced the enemy to make all these ships. But now we're just going to ignore them to move across the map to destroy the enemy on the land. Because these ships can't really go inside our base to destroy us, so now these ships can't really do anything. Which is kind of funny. We kind of baited the enemy to make a bigger navy just to then move across the map and destroy them with a land army. So there you have it. The enemy has a bigger navy, but now they can't really defend themselves on the land. So we just move in here, pretty much very little resistance. Maybe because the enemy didn't really work together on the land as well as we did with their navy. So eventually the rest of them do decide to surrender. So there you have it. See the results. You can see here, I somehow did get quite a lot of kills, because I had a somewhat big navy, but also quite a substantial land army. I think ADKI had a mostly land army, so he got most of the kills. Here the enemy kind of got baited into making a huge navy, which then left them open for an easy land assault. Anyways, if you liked the video, you can leave a like, leave a comment. If you want to see more videos on the Scouring Early Access, then you can subscribe. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.